Welcome back, everyone, to Get With The Programming. This is our Behind the Programming series with the Legends Masters Championship, and we have come to the fourth and final day of competition. We've had 9 scored events up to this point for the 54 and under, and 8 for the 55 plus. And it is Sunday. We have a lot on the line coming into the day. Bob, Joe, how many events do we have lined up for today versus scored or actual events?
So 1 event, 2 scores. 200 points on one.
All right, 1 event, 2 scores. We've been following the Anchorman theme of named events, and they've all been fantastic. And as we no pressure for the last one. I don't.
My favorite 2.
All right, let's hear it. What do we got?
Workout 10 is Stay Classy, San Diego.
Oh, wonderful.
Workout 11 is Go Fuck Yourself, San Diego.
Now I'm starting to have to wonder, how is that any worse than whale's vagina? I'm just
When I wrote it up, I did the ampersand.
yeah, a little asterisk. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
No, it's steak less perfect. Yeah, perfect.
We'll save whale's vagina for next year. I mean, there's that's the great thing about Anchorman is we have
There's so many. Yeah,
there's 3 years worth of quotes to turn into workouts.
At least
that'll be like the floater event in the ocean. Just, it's do that swim anytime you want. All right, so we have 2 sport events to close things out here.
Yep. And so it's the 2 combined are an 11-minute cap total.
Okay.
And Stay Classy San Diego is a repeat of a workout from last year.
All right.
So it starts off with a thruster ladder, a 4-3-2-1 thruster ladder. So we did that last year as a surprise workout at the end of day 3.
Okay.
And we overprogrammed it a little bit. So it was a 1-minute cap.
Oops.
It was a 1-minute cap, and it ended at 225 for the men and 155 for the women. And we only got less than a third of the field finishing. It wasn't what we visualized when we kind of put it together. So we learned. We extended the cap 30 minutes. And now the weights go 95, 135, 185, 205 instead of 225. And then on the women's side, 65, 95, 125, 140. And so the thought process there is, we want to see the race, right?
Yep.
We want to see more people finishing. So you start off with the thruster ladder. Then there's a 1.5-minute rest. And then we end with 3 rounds of 7 bar muscle ups, 15 thrusters, although the reps vary by age group.
Okay.
And then a 50-foot odd object lunge. And we're introducing a new odd object that I don't think is even for sale yet from RX Smart Gear called Tsunami Bag.
Tsunami Bag.
Yeah. So it's basically like a slosh pipe type of thing.
Oh, okay. So
It's like
water.
What's this long?
Yeah.
Yay thick. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So-
Do you guys remember back in the OG days where everyone made a freaking slosh pipe? Who I don't even know who started that, but the all goal was to try to overhead squat at one time.
Yeah. Right.
those things are awesome.
I got 2 outside my gym right now.
I got one. I got one outside too.
When is the last time that thing got moved back?
Really dusty. It's really dusty.
Everybody used it for a week. And then I was like, all right, we're over it.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah. And so a couple of nuances here, right? So the 35 through 49 age group, they're doing their lunge overhead with the Tsunami Bag.
Whoa.
The 50s are doing front rack, and then the 60s are doing, athlete's choice, front rack or back rack, depending on where their mobility issues are, right? But everybody's using the same weight for the Tsunami Bag. Well, there's a male and a female version, right? everybody uses the same weight, just different movement standard.
What is the thruster weight?
In the Metcon, it is 95.65.
Okay. So we have, to start things off, a 4-3-2-1.
Yep,
The sprint thruster ladder. What's
Yep.
the cap on that?
130.
Oh, it's just 90 seconds start to finish.
Yep,
90 seconds.
90 seconds, then you take a 90-second break,
yep,
and then into the 3 rounds, 7-bar muscle-ups, 15 thrusters at 95 and 65, and the 50-foot slosh bag lunge.
yep.
Nasty.
Yeah, I did test this
Yeah.
one. This workout it's a lot of fun.
Oh, wow.
Man, I like this one a lot.
Yeah, the slosh bags, tsunami bags. It's pretty cool. So Dave brought them by last week, Bob?
Yeah,
Sometime?
last week. Yeah,
And he texted me. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to be in the area. Can you guys take a look at these?" And he brought them over. And I mean, I wanted to touch on too is like part of throwing this championship. You know, we want to give masters access not only to like cool athlete gear from Viore and Livestream, but also like cool equipment. You know, stuff that you're only going to get and see at competition, like the games does. You know, like they have. You know, the toy or the sanctionals, some of the sanctionals, they have the torque tank. At the games, they have, you know, the bobsled and the fridge and the tank or whatever they call them. But we want to get stuff into the hands of these people. So, like, having the runner, the tank, you know, the sandbag's pretty much a staple, it seems like. But the heavy ropes and the tsunami bags, it's like, cool, let's get new toys in their hands to play around with. And let's see who can adapt. You know, who can see without too much time to practice. You see who can, you know, pick it up in a week or so, or in this case, I mean, we're not telling anyone about these, and you ain't allowed to touch them until they get on the workout floor. So it's like,
So they
I love that
area.
part.
yeah, it's like, you know, you can't touch them. They're going to be hidden. You know, they're filled up, they're ready to go, and they're going to be hidden until they're on the workout floor. Then they never leave the workout floor. So, you getting cool equipment in the competitors' hands was a big goal for us, and so. When Dave came to us with this tsunami bag idea, we're like, absolutely. Let's talk it through. Let's test it out and see what we can do with it. And we're super pumped for this now. It's going to be exciting just to see how people react to it.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how heavy it is? About?
Yeah, 35 for the guy, 25 for the girl. So it's not terribly heavy. And through Dave's input, he said, don't fill them up too much because it takes the slosh out, and it makes sense.
Right.
You know, you don't have to get too heavy to kind of actually the little bit lighter is a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
Without getting too heavy of a load. So
Is it that
It's
way?
pretty cool.
Is it that way with the water or without?
that's
With
with
the
the water.
That's with the
Yes.
water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, you get a 30-pound swing left to right. I mean, that's gonna
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
that's gonna make a big difference. Do they have like little markers in there? You guys can tell. You just put them on a scale and you fill it up.
Scale.
Yeah.
Scale.
Oh man.
So,
Bob, when
Pretty
you
fun.
said that you tested this, how much different did you feel, and then why did you decide the overhead versus the front rack for the 50s versus the 40s?
So when I tested this, I actually tested the previous version before the tsunami bag. So the previous version, it was 95-pound lunge. Back
Oh, that's
rack.
right. Your thruster weight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You just grabbed the thruster bar and you went. So I kind of felt like I had a 95-pound stationary object, right, versus this slosh bag, you know, lighter weight but at a higher skill movement going overhead, right?
Yeah.
Would kind of would start to change things up a little bit. So
Okay.
that was kind of the general idea there. The lunge, I think either way, when I tested it, the lunge. This workout comes down to like the bar muscle ups and the thrusters, right? Like, can you on day 4 do these 3 rounds of 7 unbroken, right? And and I know that you can do 15 thrusters unbroken.
Yeah.
You have the will to still do it, right? Like that's kind of it's 100% a will test at this point, you know? And then the lunge is just, I don't want to say it's just kind of there, because now we're introducing an element of unknown that makes it, I think if it was the original way that we programmed it with just the back rack lunge, it was just kind of there, right? And it burned your legs a little bit, and it creates that race that we talked about, you know, that visual, like, slow race that's occurring. But I think with this, we still get that visual dynamic of the race, but throwing in the unknown, you know, really changes things, you know? And just having to figure out how to go overhead, having never touched the bag before, it'll be cool to see that too. Like, who figures that out immediately, and who does it take until round 3?
Well, and it's amazing. I mean, it's amazing how, you know, Dave Castro does this, like with the Open, where he goes, okay, we're going to do basically Fran. He's like, we're going to do 170 pounds. And just that little bit changes.
I hate that.
Like, it's not much. It's barely anything, but it still is enough to make you get out of your comfort zone, where all of a sudden now it feels like you feel it way more than you normally do, because you're so used to, I mean, we're so good at adapting to whatever it is that we're doing. So everyone's going to be, you know, doing the bar muscle ups, doing the thrusters. They get to this thing, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, what is this? What's happening here? What's this weird stimulus that I'm feeling? I'm totally thinking this, and your mind all of a sudden gets, you know, kicked out of its normal racing mindset. You know, so I think that's going to be really interesting to watch.
I just like maybe not going to give it to them until they get on the floor. Not even.
I love that.
Not even in the warm up area. Yeah.
Like, I love that so much. Like, I've been saying for years, I'm like, I would love to just go to a local comp, any competition, to where they don't tell you anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it could be one workout, or one long workout, or it could be five workouts. Don't tell anyone anything, and see who can piece it together right away. And so this Unagi bag, I like how it's, you know, bar muscle ups and thrusters. Like, in the thruster, it's relatively light, so you're going to get into like a really good rhythm. You know, that rhythm's going to be set. You're going to go unbroken. You're going to pick that bag up, and then that rhythm's going to get disrupted. You know, you're not going to, each step is going to be a little bit different until you kind of figure it out. And so even fresh, when I picked it up and started lunging with it, the first few steps, you're like, oh, okay. And you kind of just need to learn how to go with the slosh. And that I think each round, those first few steps, you're going to see some steps are kind of all over the place, zigzagging, and then they'll start to kind of tighten it up, hopefully.
It's the final race, man. Like, you need to race, and there are going to be people that are going to be battling to get on the podium, or battling for the top spots, or battling for their certain place, you know, finishes. And yet here you are with all that pressure, trying to figure out something new, where literally that's the piece that's going to be separating you, is, can you figure it out to get the points to get onto the podium or whatever. I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome. And I think it's a great way to put that in there right at the end like that too.
Yeah, well, and that's just it, Bill, right? Like, believe it or not, that's the separator in this workout, because the top guys, they can all do the bar muscle ups and the thrusters. Top guys and ladies can all do the bar muscle ups and the thrusters at basically the same speed.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. You know, and just going back to the thruster ladder, not to brush by that one too quickly. This one, believe it or not, it's going to surprise people. Like, we saw a lot of big dudes and strong women last year that could not finish this ladder, or even like really had any chance at finishing it. That you would look at him and be like, how can this guy not thruster 225? How is that not possible?
Yeah, what were the weights last year? Was it the same 4, 3, 2, 1, just different weights?
It was the same 4, 3, 2, 1. It was 95, 135, 185, and then 225.
Okay.
And like, it, you know, when I tell you, man, that like, I think 6 or 7 guys finished in the 35 to 39. You know, same for the 40 to 44, and like then it just started going downhill from there. Like it jams up your leaderboard, which is something that you don't really want, you know. And so we definitely we went into it this year with like, okay, we want like 75% of the field to finish. So we got to extend the time cap and we got to, bring down that final weight. But I think this is going to surprise the hell out of people too. People are going to get to the big jump, the 135 to the 185 is a little bit shocking, right? And then, and you got to do that one twice. And so it's going to come down to fractions of a second on this one. So are you smoothly going through that 185, or are you kind of bringing it back into a front rack and then going again, right? And then, you just got to grab that 205 and go. But that's where people will miss. You'll be shocked at how many people miss that the first time through.
And they're going
like a heavy thruster.
And they're stepping over the bar, right? When they go from bar to bar.
Yeah, stepping over the bar. Yep.
I think the thing they forget, and I did too until you said, is like, this is day 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like day 1, I'd be like, pfft.
Yeah.
Day 4, I'd be like, these weights feel a little bit different this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, your grip's gone, right? Your legs are probably gone, right? After all that, the dumbbell chipper the day before, like it's going to be.
And the thruster ladder is going to be pretty exciting. Like, I tested it last year at last year's weights, and I burned through the first 3 bars, just like motored through them. Then picked up 225, had a double bounce because I was a little off, and then come up and pushed it forward and missed 225. I had to sit there, and what felt like 10 full seconds was only like 5, and then attempt again and get it. But we had a 1-minute time cap last year, and I got like a 51-second time. Rested 5 minutes, did it again. I was like, go way slower in that first bar. Went way slower and got a much better time because I didn't miss. And so, guys that aren't, super strong, it's like, who's going to be smart to not sprint the 95 and 135 and kind of take your time so that you are minimizing any risk of missing that final bar. Because like Bob said, a lot of people are going to miss that final bar at least once. They'll be able to pick it up and finish it, but that one miss is going to drop you.
That's a heavy duty. That's a heavy duty miss. Yeah.
Yeah. And with so much riding on the line, right? The pressure of it, I love putting it on the final day just for that reason, right? Because it amps up the pressure and the importance of, you got to make sure you hit every bar. There's no margin for error.
All right,
you kind of stack them with 2 high pressure setups back to back.
I like it, but that's what you just see in the final event: high stakes, high intensity, high pressure.
Yeah,
a lot of fun, a lot of weird things we'll see at the end. All right, so we take a look back as we look back through all the events you guys have programmed. When you collect this, how do you guys go about looking at what you did, balancing things from start to finish as far as time domains, movement patterns, weights, reps? What's the process you guys go through when it's all said and done?
You want to take it, Joe? Or?
Oh, you had.
Typically what we'll do is we'll kind of write them up on Joe's whiteboard, and just lay them out in totality. And we'll start picking them apart from is this a big guy workout? Is this a little guy workout? Right? Are we doing too much of one type of movement and not enough of another type of movement? Like we're really trying to achieve balance as much as possible. There's definitely going to be if I were to put a theme on this year, right? It's grippy. Like this is a grippy year for sure, right? So you're always going to have stuff like that, but I think that's okay, right? I mean, it's, this is the year of grippy, and, maybe next year is the year of something else, but I mean, it's CrossFit. You're always going to kind of have a grippy element to it. But, that's really it. And then, so we'll start, that's why we go through 8 or 9 revisions, because we'll start picking these apart and making sure that, we're not stacking the field one way or the other.
Yeah.
Or at least, in our minds, we're not stacking the field one way or the other. So we're delivering a well-rounded result over the course of of 9 to 11 workouts.
I mean,
Yeah, and making sure like when we program, it's I see a lot of programming that caters to the person that just can work a lot smarter, can work a lot more efficient, to where, well, what if the guy just can't move that well, but he works his ass off? It's like,
yeah.
For instance, like Cindy, workout that has a low volume of pull-ups, but, so I remember I went up against the guy that was relatively new to our gym, and we did Cindy, and he was hanging me the whole time. And I've been CrossFitting for like 9 years at this point. I'm like, I should mop this guy up. He's only 2 months in, but he could squat, he could do push-ups, and he could do strict pull-ups all day for small sets. So he beat me. I was like, okay, like I like this. I like that he just fucking worked harder.
Yeah,
I'm butterflying my pull-ups. He's seriously just like strict. I'm like, okay. I'm like, oh, he's gonna burn out. He's gonna burn out. Did not burn out. I was just like, I like that. And so like when we program, it's like, it doesn't always have to be made for the person that is super efficient. Maybe it could be for the person that can do the movement, do it pretty good, but can just grit through some stuff. Yeah. But then you got the flip side, like, hey, we do need to highlight the efficiency and the time that people put in for the high skill movements. And so when we go through all these revisions, it's moving movements from workout to workout and time domains, and there's just so much back and forth. It takes months for us, but I think it's the most fun part for me.
Yeah,
it's going through all that, just the anticipation and seeing it all play out on the field. And then I like when stuff doesn't go right that we thought, like the thruster ladder last year. I was like, all right, we can make it better. How do we fix it? I think that it shows like how much we care on not just the bells and whistles we're putting together for everyone, but what actually happens on the competition floor is super important. So.
Well, and I think like the Masters one, they want something like this. But what I really like that you guys did is you did not shy away from movements. You did not shy away from weights, because that is what I see regularly. And myself being in the 50 division, I tell you what, when I get to the division where I'm doing 35-pound dumbbells, I'm going to be really upset, because like to me, it's like I just. That doesn't, I don't, it's kind of like when you program for your gym. You don't program for the masses, you program for your best, you modify for the rest, is what you're going to be looking at. But if you're having a competition, a high-end competition, where you're having elite level of whatever age group, they're elite level. So they should be able to do heavier weights. They should be able to do fuller range of motions. They should be able to do more technical movements. Not, well, I'm 55, so now I'm not able to do whatever. And I don't think you guys did that. And I think that wherever modifications you guys did do, I like the fact that you took so much time and really tried to do your due diligence of, let's make a correct modification or appropriate scale for this, so they're still getting what they need to get. We aren't going, oh, you're 55, sorry, you can't do anything overhead because you're 55 now. Right. So I think you guys did a great job of putting that together. A very consistent and very intelligently thought out setup for sure. Applaud you guys.
Well, and we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the fact that, like, especially for the 55 plus, we work with these guys called the Masters Group that they just program for 55 plus.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and so we'll come up with the workouts and we'll start getting them involved around like revision 6 or so. Maybe a little early, like maybe revision 3 or 4, and we'll send it over to Dell because he's stopped competing now, and he'll help us kind of figure out, like, okay, are these the right reps, are these the right, is this the right height, is this the right movement, and kind of weave that in there, because I'll be honest, man, like I feel like I know how to program, and Joe and I know how to program really well through 50 to 54, and then it just gets really hard above that, and if we were too proud to not bring in outside help, I think the overall program would suffer. So
I think you guys did a great job. Like, just looking at the events now, it's just all on paper. You have a nice gathering of some gatekeeper movements like overhead squats and ring muscle ups, but you only have that for the 54 and under, right? You're not having to scale or modify for 55 plus. That's not even a worry. You have things like rope climbs, but you're lowering the height and not the actual movement itself. We have modifications for handstand walks, but they're in there, but you have to buy in to get there. You got to like earn your stripes to even do a high skill movement. You got a good power output test with just the rower and the deadlift. You have snatches and cleans, and you put that in there and you give them the options of power squat or split. But putting that Metcon in the middle, I like your odd object chipper with some penalty laps in there. And then the final that you have with the little race to start and then more of just a classic ending with a little twist at the end. Like, you have a lot of different things in here. And Joe, I think you were talking about this, is like giving the masters something more than just push-ups, pull-ups, and barbell movements of things like ring muscle-ups, rope climbs, the torque tank, this tsunami bag. I think it's really cool. And what I'm hoping is that you guys are a licensed CrossFit event, and what CrossFit is doing is they're actually going to be, they're invested, right? They're invested in the success of your event, but at the same time, I'm sure they're intrigued, because what I hope is that you guys accomplish everything that you want to as far as advancing the competition scene for masters athletes, as well as maybe showing the games a new level of possibilities for masters athletes, whether it's the 55 plus and up, which is, it's always getting better. And I think as the years go on, when we all start aging up into those divisions, you're like, yeah, we can do all this now. And here's why, here's proof. And, they'll look at hopefully the Legends competition in a couple weeks and see what is possible and maybe change the way things move down the line. So I think this is going to be great for the masters scene and community now, but I think more so great for what the future holds for masters competitions.
Yeah,
I totally agree. And like the games and other masters competitions out there, I want them to do more, do better, try new things, because that just makes us better. I hear about stuff that go on in other competitions and like, cool, what they do, that's pretty cool. How can I do it? How can I do it better? How can we change it? How can we make it different? How do we keep progressing? And I think the more masters competitions that are out there, especially live ones, but the online ones are good too. But I think the more that are out there, the more masters that'll participate, but it'll make each one of those competitions have to be better. You can't just throw together a few workouts that have, simple equipment that can be found in any gym. I think that's the easiest way to go about it. But taking the time to get special equipment, taking the time to go through 10 revisions and change it, that's really important to us, not just to make our competition better, but like you said, Chase, to show across the world other competitions like, hey, look what our people are doing. Like, you guys can do it too. Put the overhead squats in there, put the ring muscle ups in, do this. Take time to pay attention to those scaling options that you give, because you can't just brush off the older age groups because they have less people in them. They're still super important. They're I think they're some of the most impressive age groups out there. We're talking 55 plus, females doing handstand push-ups and chest to bar pull-ups and bar muscle ups, at some point. It's pretty amazing. Like, that is insane. And so I think that giving them as much opportunity to show the world how good they are is extremely important, as important as the 35 plus. So it's a lot of fun, and I like where Legends is going, and overall where the Masters competitions elsewhere are going as well.
Yeah, we actually added 70 plus this year for the men, believe it or not. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Crazy.
So we got 2 guys going, but.
Nice.
Again, it's a little bit self-serving, right? One day I'm going to be 70, and I don't think I'm going to want to stop competing. Somebody's got to put it out there now, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying is, like, as we evolve and we grow into the sport, like, that's going to raise the bar itself with how we age up. And I think that's really cool. And, inspirational gets thrown around, I think, a little bit too much sometimes. But it is, I think, what the Masters adds to the CrossFit community as a whole, I think yields more participation with affiliates and just looking at health and fitness than the elite individual side does, right?
Yeah.
The elite individual side to me is the entertainment, right? That is the entertainment part of what CrossFit really is. But if we're talking about the masses, is like seeing, a mother of 3, age of 45, doing these things, I think is more influential and inspirational to that demographic than it is seeing the Riches and the Matts and the Justins and the Tias out there doing what they're doing. And I think that's the really cool part of having this, and even more so that you guys are having a live stream, and not just an average live stream. Like, your live stream is going to be legit. The same people that produce the CrossFit Games are the people that are running your live stream. You're going to have the best broadcasters in the world there. Bill will be a part of that along with Sean Woodland. So if you guys can't show up in San Diego and watch this in person, you guys are going to provide them with a world-class live stream that they can watch and still be invested in with the weekend. So I'm very excited to see this all go down. So congratulations to you guys. I love the programming top to bottom. I can't wait to watch these events go down. I'm sure you guys are even more excited as a programmer to see those take on your little babies that you have ready to That's the most exciting and nerve-wracking part. But I well done, guys.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, well, that concludes the programming for the Legends Masters Championships. You guys can watch it online, or you can go there in person. It'll be in San Diego. Is it with the Sheraton? Where's the location going to be? Okay, the Sheraton downtown by the airport?
Yeah. It's the San Diego Sheraton and Marina.
San Diego Sheraton, and it'll be December 8th or 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, Thursday to Sunday. And it all comes down to the Legends Masters Championships. Bill, thank you so much for being here. Bob, Joe, pleasure as always. Well done in the programming, and good luck in a few weeks.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Great job, you guys. Great job.